What happens when you realize that your parents were not and maybe still aren't the parents that you need? Hi, I'm Dr. A. I'm a licensed psychologist and certified clinical trauma professional focused on helping Black women navigate trauma with science backed strategies and a whole lot of love. What happens when adult you realizes that your mama, your daddy, your grandma, and them, your aunties, they just were not equipped with the skills that you needed them to have to love you as best as possible? I grew up in the South. I don't know really too many adults that I call by their first name. And so oftentimes children associate people with the labels that are given to them, mama, dad. And for them, that label is associated with the role that they play in their lives. For us to become adults, when we realize that they were somebody before they were our mom and our daddy, sometimes that can be hard to make sense of, because what it does is it humanizes them beyond their role of parent. And once that begins to happen, I find that clients often go through grief, grieving for their younger selves, the parent that they wish that person had had, grieving for their present selves about their parents' inability or unwillingness to change. And I think that's where I really try to reinforce an opportunity for growth. Just because they act like that still doesn't mean you have to choose the same thing. Sometimes our parents don't know, didn't know, and didn't have the skills to do anything differently. But once you know better, you do better. Learning about the patterns that you were taught in childhood and how those impact your adult relationships is really good data. And if you're choosing not to use that as you move about your adult relationships, romantic, familial, work, or otherwise, like, you have information that could be benefiting you and helping you to move differently in a way that's more healthy. I think that this is where we also have to remind ourselves to have compassion for ourselves and compassion for others, because confronting this stuff is one thing. And then figuring out if we want to do something with it and how we go about changing our behaviors is a whole nother thing. So if the adult you is grieving and frustrated about how your parents showed up and you're still struggling unlearning some of those things you learned in that relationship, this is an opportunity to remember that they're having the same experience with their parents, even if it's just a memory of their parents. So compassion for self often allows us to have compassion for other people. Listen, this is hard. I will be honest and say I'm one of those people. I do believe that my parents were probably responsible for some of my first experiences of heartbreak. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that that has to be the end of my story or that I have to allow the impact of that to color the rest of my experience. Sometimes we have these realizations, we process them, we sit with them, and then we put them down because we realize that although maybe something was missing in the past, we have exactly what we need for right now. Remember, you have enough for today.